Okay, this is St. Valentine's Day, a one act, and my lovely wife is playing the part of Aunt Eleanor, and my lovely daughter is playing the part of Letty. So this is again a one act, St. Valentine's Day. Go ahead.
How very absurd and medieval on his part to send me a valentine, really. A real valentine with, I have no doubt, birds and hearts and cupids and true lovers' knots and arrows on it. I do not think I shall be entirely satisfied unless it has a heart penetrated by an arrow. There's something about a heart in vivid color penetrated by an arrow that expresses an amount of sentimental suffering otherwise impossible to delineate. I used to be very fond of the open work of the ones over color paper, but I think now I should be able to do without the color paper. My tastes have softened down with the faded aestheticism of the age. But I should like some of those appropriate legends stuck here and there. Something simple but convincing, such as true love, mine is thine, think of me, or from a true friend. I remember that even to the uncritical eye of youth, these aphorisms had rather the air of being attached as a work of supererogation after the real Valentine was finished. They suggest conventionalized emotion in a way that is charming, and Dick and I both like our emotion conventionalized.
Eleanor, apple.
She's always wanting something to eat. I suppose at her age, I always wanted something to eat. Of course you can. You can have an apple.
Well, you're gonna have to change that. So go back and rewrite it. Pick up from where you were to say your line. Go ahead.
Aunt Eleanor, can I have some cheese balls?
She's always wanting something to eat. I suppose I wanted to eat something all the time at her age too. Of course you can have some cheese puffs.
Oh, I've already had some.
I've no doubt of it, but you can have more. As many as you like.
Well, I don't believe I want more.
I have a greater faith in her capabilities, founded on a brief but eventful experience. What is it to me so absurd about it is that Richard should fancy for a moment that sort of thing should really have an effect upon me. He knows I'm the least sentimental of mortals, and that all the accessories of lovemaking weigh with me not at all. I wish they did, I'm sure. I'd like to know the sweetness of doubt and mysteries and surprises and that sort of thing again. I would like more than all to be jealous, just faintly, deliciously jealous. But that is out of the question. I've passed beyond that, and of all men, with Richard Morrison. I know that he loves me, but... And that fact in itself, everything at our age would be... Everything. I mean, if I cared for him, it ought to be enough for any woman.
Say, Aunt Eleanor, there aren't any more.
Any more what? Oh, I'm sorry. But Jane will get you some more if you just ask her.
It isn't very much matter, Aunt Eleanor, but if Jane can just as well.
Oh yes, Jane can just as well. I would need an extra housemaid to keep that jar replenished. What was I saying about enough for any woman? It certainly couldn't have been cheese puffs. Oh, yes, about knowing he's in love with me. Yes, and he knows it. Knows I know it, and that certainly ought to be enough for him. What more could a reasonable man want? And what is the use of his telling me of it? It won't do any good. I implied that to him the other evening when he showed signs of bringing up the matter for the dozenth time, and he laughed and said, "of February, I think I shall have to try to send a valentine," as if a valentine would make matters any better. Still, I'm curious to see what sort of composition it will be. It is afternoon, and it hasn't come yet. I should believe that he would never think of such a careless remark again, except that Richard has a dreadful way of remembering careless remarks.
Jane found some for me, Aunt Eleanor, and she says that there are lots more, so it's all right.
Oh yes, I'm quite sure of it.
Okay, Sherry, lay your book down now. Why don't you lay it down? Show some variety, because
Okay.
it continues to look
yeah.
like you're just reading the book.
Okay. Oh yes, I'm quite sure it will be all right.
So, Aunt Eleanor, I've been reading an awfully interesting book.
Oh, have you? Taste for reading has been suddenly developed. I hope it will last. What is it?
I've forgotten the name of it, but it's awfully interesting. It's about broken engagements and misunderstandings. And they go to the most elegant ball. And Spencer loved the loveliest flowers I've heard.
Okay, honey. Now, you cannot eat when you are speaking lines. So that's called stage eating. So you need to make sure that you're going to plop something in your mouth when Sherry has a longer line. If she's got, oh yes, go ahead, and you've got a big wad of cheese balls in your mouth, you're not going to be understood. So you need to finish chewing and say your line and hold the cheese ball. You don't necessarily need to show the audience you're perpetually eating. They will buy the fact that you are eating cheese. You don't need to necessarily scarf a mass amount of cheese balls. I know you like them, honey. All right, let's pick it up from your line that you buried in the cheese balls.
I've forgotten the name of it, but it's awfully interesting. It's about broken engagements and misunderstandings, and they go to this most elegant ball. And he sends her these loveliest flowers that are from his own greenhouse. You know, I've forgotten what kind of flower it is, but it's some particular kind. You know, that means something. It's some sort of queer name. I wish I could think of it, so if anyone ever sent me any, I'd know what it was. It was in England, you know, at a manor house.
Okay, slow down a little bit and make sure you enunciate. I need to hear the words clearly. You're doing great. Just make sure that you enunciate. Go ahead.
You know, at a manor house. I wish I could think of it. It isn't yang, you know, but...
Stephanotis, perhaps?
Yes, I guess that's it, anyway. It's just as good. I've forgotten what it meant, anyway, so I guess I wouldn't know. Well, he sends them to her, you know, and she doesn't wear them. Oh, and there's someone else in the house that's in love with him, too. And she interferes. I think she mixes up the flowers or something. She's an awfully mean old thing. And I should think he'd have seen through her in a minute. And known the other one, wanted to wear the flowers. I know. I would know. Wouldn't you?
Oh, undoubtedly. There's nothing easier than unmasking deception in books. One doesn't have anything half so interesting in real life.
Well, it makes an awful lot of trouble anyway. And he quarrels with her. The nice one. You know, goes off with the other. She's lovely dress at the ball. All kind of weird and serpent-like and glittering. You know, and no. I was dreadfully afraid he was going to propose to her. Wouldn't it have been perfectly awful if he had, Eleanor?
Oh yes, perfectly awful!
Okay, be careful when you do the profile. We don't want to see the side of your face. Make sure it's just a quarter turn. Okay, thanks. Keep going. It's great.
It seems so long ago that I realized how perfectly awful it would have been.
And, you know, all along, you worried that the serpent one, she's the most deceitful thing. She's a perfect schemer. And you wonder if it will ever straighten out.
Yes, certainly. It must be very interesting. I remember worrying over such misunderstandings and really having doubts about their straightening out. It was crude to be sure, but I fancy it was better than not caring whether they straighten out or not. Wouldn't you like a napkin or a plate or something?
Oh dear me, no. It's awfully fussy to have a plate or a napkin. I eat most everything. Anyway. Oh, but this time... Then there's an elegant scene at the end where somebody dies. I don't know who it was. I sort of skipped on. But it's the most affecting thing. I almost cried reading it over once. And the hero, I think his name is Lionel. Isn't that a nice name? It's so kind of odd. He's so despairing. You never saw anything like the way he talks.
Very likely. And yet I dare say he'll get over it. The more despairing they are, the less they can keep it up. Otherwise, there would never be enough despair to go around.
Don't you think it sounds splendid, Aunt Eleanor?
Oh yes, there is something very attractive about despair. But Letty, I don't think that's the kind of book you ought to read. You know, now that you're in my charge, I must be particular. I'd rather you choose something less emotional.
Okay. Let's just stop for a moment. Again, when you came in, if we were using the cheese balls as a sight gag, make sure that you turn the label out towards the audience. Right, because there you go. Also, too, let's remember that when you are speaking to her, there needs to be a definite change of tone. Your body posture, Sherry, would need to say that I'm talking to you now, to the audience.
Okay, lean forward.
Or no, I wouldn't lean forward to her. I'd lean forward to the audience. If you're going to tell them something like, you know,
So that I don't hear.
she eats too many cheese balls.
Oh.
Oh yes, Letty, I
So that
think.
I don't hear Mommy. I don't hear anything.
Okay.
So at any rate, I think all that's very good. So far, so good. Everything's going. Reading your line, and you look like a teenager.
Me?
Yeah, perfect for the part. So that's working out too. And we are at over 11 minutes, so we are good. And so that's wonderful. Thank you for your time.